quality is peak. Howdy y'all and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back, as if you've been here before. I just thought I'd do one of those boring type of videos where I introduce my channel and who I am. I'm gonna try my best to make sure that the mic quality isn't shit, but that's gonna be kind of hard because I'm using my gamer girl headphones here, which I'm not much of a gamer. I play Elden Ring. I'm not much of a gamer, I just play Dark Souls. No, but really, that's like the one game that I play, and these headphones are broken as hell. I mean, look. Anyway, hi, my name's Adela, but you can call me Pixie, because that's my username. So I got my notes here, and I'm basically just gonna start off with like what this channel's gonna be for, and then I will go into like who I am and my values as a person and like all that fun stuff. Basically, I mentioned this in my video from yesterday. I've been seeing all these YouTube channels of like classic YouTube vibes of just like girlies hanging out on their fucking cameras. I'm so good at talking. It's a really good thing that I started a YouTube channel because if anything is peak, it is my communication skills and my ability to put my thoughts into words. So, anyway, all these channels really inspired me and made me feel less alone. Really, not to get like sappy here, but I felt alone basically my whole life. Like even though I have a good friend group and I've always had like at least a few friends, it's like I kind of sought out the people that were also ostracized. No shade to any of my friends, but we're a ragtag group of weird little gremlins. So I basically just flocked to the people that could understand me, and all these girlies starting their YouTube channels with basically just the goal of yapping for like 25 minutes, just talking whatever's on their mind. I like really appreciate that because it makes me feel more connected to the world, you know? Like there's people out there that actually can understand me. 'Cause I live in a small town, and I'm an artist. I mentioned that in my last video. That's like my thing. Yeah, I've always been that way since I was a kid. I've just been a very strange, artistic, unique, and expressive person, I suppose. And I've always stifled that side of myself because growing up in a small town, that kind of stuff is not generally accepted. And now that I'm an adult, I'm 25 years old, it's like, who gives a fuck? I'm not hurting anybody, and all my life I've gone thinking that I was some kind of horrible person because I've always been ostracized and scorned. But I've come to realize now, like, all of those kids that chastised me growing up were also children, and they're not children anymore. I'm not a child anymore. And when I really look at my values and who I am as a person deep down, I know that I'm not a bad person. But growing up, people didn't see me as I was. I suppose they saw my actions and they saw my words, my impulsive behaviors and decisions, but inside I didn't understand what I was doing wrong, and I'm going off on a huge tangent. Anyway, I was raised my whole life to believe that what I was wrong, and that everything I did was wrong, and I just remember vividly, even when I tried my absolute best to be a good person and to do right, I like found myself being yelled at. And looking back, it's obviously like I was being a huge brat. Like, I know why I was so hated by everyone in school and all that. Like, as far back as I remember, I've been impulsive and like crazy and unique and quirky and expressive. and people did not vibe with that, especially because even at home, I learned, someone on Instagram summarized this pretty well. I didn't learn the ways of the world through accomplishment, I learned the ways of the world through punishment. And in my teenage years, I kind of learned to just like never speak again. I remember I have a report card from 2nd grade, and one of the entries says, every time she's punished, she argues that she has done nothing wrong. And yeah, as an adult, like a teacher or a parent looking back on that, that just sounds like I'm being a little bitch. I still remember the first-hand experience of being in school and being told that, like, I'm bringing it on myself, and just being in trouble all the time just for being myself and not understanding why. I remember as a kid, it's like, looking back on my actions, even as a child, obviously, I understand what I was doing wrong. But in the moment that I did the thing that got me in trouble eventually, I genuinely just didn't think that I was doing anything wrong. I was just being myself. And yeah, that's just called being a kid. But I've always had this feeling like I was extra bad of a kid because as a kid, in school especially, I was like the most hated, bottom of the rung, like ostracized person there. And it's because I was annoying as fuck, and I egged people on purpose, and in a way I did bring it on myself, but like starting from a very young age. In preschool, I was like hiding under the tables while the other kids were actually doing their work and paying attention, and I mentioned this in my last video. I'm not diagnosed, but there's something going on with me, I think. I feel like I'm a neurodivergent person, and that would explain a lot about my life, but I know there's all these people online that are like, oh, everybody's autistic these days. Everybody has ADHD these days. Oh my god, it's just trendy now, like people want to feel special. I don't want to feel, I mean, I do want to feel special. I've come to accept myself and who I am, and I know that I am a unique person with a lot of gifts and talents and insights and artistic vision to offer the world. But as a kid, it was like, I just felt wrong. Like, everybody hated me, everybody dogpiled on me. I was never physically bullied, like, no one ever, like, beat me up or anything, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I was always, like, maybe one step ahead of, like, the actual disabled students. Like, the ones that actually had, like, accommodations, I suppose. I was, like, one step above that. And I wish that somebody picked up on that and, like, asked me how I felt about all of it and just tried to help me somehow. But I'm an adult now, and that's my responsibility, and it's like, bitch, get over it. There are other people out there with much worse traumas than yours. Like I said, I was never beaten up or anything. I was just kind of that kid that people made a game out of hiding from and like avoiding. I felt like I was watched my whole childhood by like everyone around me in school, like looking for anything that I said or did and then like twisting it in a way to make me look like some kind of creep or asshole or I don't know. But I'm trying to like forgive and forget because in the end I did things wrong and they did things wrong and we were kids and kids will be kids. I'm not gonna live the entire rest of my life looking back on my childhood and like mourning what I could have had because I'm only 25. I got the whole rest of my life ahead of me and I'm gonna be fine. So I made this channel basically just to connect with other people who can relate to my life story because I'm watching these YouTube channels and these girls talking about their experiences and it's like I totally understand that. Like I feel like since I've grown up in this small town in this small school where being unique and artistic is like really looked down upon in a way and just being like outspoken, I guess, and like rambunctious. And like, I've always been that way. As a child, I was a bad person. Most children are, but I was like a bad person, and now I have a problem in my adulthood where, like, my teenage years, I literally remember being at the park and telling my cousin, going into freshman year, I was like, I've decided I'm just never gonna speak or do anything ever again, because everything that I do is misconstrued and misunderstood, and I'm just getting in trouble all the time, so I'm just gonna not speak again. And that was like the day that I decided to just mask heavily for the rest of my life, like willingly. And my whole high school years, I developed this intense social anxiety where I only spoke when I was spoken to, and that's carried over into my adulthood. And now I do the same thing at work with my coworkers. I've never really made a work friend. I think I made one work friend once. We hung out one time, and then I did what I do and dropped off the face of the earth and never spoke to her again because I'm a bitch. So anyway, yeah, I had kind of a rough childhood, but now that I'm an adult, it's like I'm coming to understand that I'm not a child anymore, and I'm looking at my values and what I've learned over the years, and I genuinely don't think I'm a bad person anymore. I might have been as a kid. I don't know. It doesn't matter because we live in the present, and right now I think my values are solid. And basically that's why I started this channel, because not only do I want to grow more connected to myself, but I also would like to connect with more like-minded people. Not even necessarily making friends, but just like touching hearts. I just want to get my message out there in hopes that people like me will understand where I'm coming from, and maybe my life experience will resonate with yours, and you'll feel less alone. So yeah, I made this channel in the spirit of freedom of expression and connection, and just like cozy vibes of like talking to a friend. But, you know, mainly I'm just gonna be yapping and like sharing my opinions about the world and things that I've learned throughout my life. Classic YouTube style stuff. Yeah, it's because I've been scorned. But that's over now. We're moving past that. It's 2025. You know what, bitch? I know what I'm after. I know who I am. And ain't nobody gonna tell me who I am no more. It's 2025, bitch. And I'm starting my YouTube channel, and I'm making my art, and I don't give a fuck. And I am moving forward in my life. My name's Adela. I've already said that. My username is Pixiegeist. I've already told you that because I'm a big Pokemon fan, and my favorite Pokemon types are Ghost and Fairy. Plus the fact that I'm an author, aspiring author, and I have one story that's like a ghost horror romance, and one that's based in like a RPG fantasy type world of my own creation. So, you know, Pixie for the Fae story, Geist for Pixie Poltergeist for the ghost story. Yeah, so that's my username. Yeah, so I'm an aspiring author illustrator. I really want to make webcomics. I've been thinking of these stories since I was basically in high school. I've got about 5 story ideas on the back burner. I don't want them to be on the back burner anymore. Like, I want to make my shit. But I've been so afraid of, like, I don't even know what. I guess my main thing is that I don't draw often enough. So I guess what I'm mostly afraid of is that, like, the first page versus the 6th page is going to be in a completely different art style. So for years now, I've been, like, brainstorming the story ideas on Notepad, but also just drawing the characters in, like, a fucking pose like this. like nothing drawings. It's just a portrait of them smiling because I'm like trying to get the art style consistent for the comic so that the characters like look the same in every panel. But it's really led to a stalemate because I don't have the inspiration anymore to draw those characters because I'm like, what's the point if they don't look the same every time? But now that I'm in a phase of my life where I'm starting to accept change and like understand that imperfection breeds innovation, it's like, who fucking cares if the first page looks completely different than the last page? It's about the process of creation and expression, and like really the audience of whatever you create wants to grow with you at the end of the day. That's why whips or while in progress drawings like sketches and doodles and stuff are more popular on like Instagram, because people want to see the process and they want to feel involved and like they're growing with you. So I really just need to get started. It's been like 8 years since high school that I've had these stories in my brain, and I've just been waiting for the day when I'm perfect and I know that the product I create will be flawless, and it'll never be flawless. Because even if I did draw consistently enough and I drew like 6 drawings a day for the next 3 years, the first panel's still gonna look different than the last. And that's like me telling myself that my art isn't good enough right now, which isn't true. Sure, I struggle with certain things, like I struggle drawing hands and tootsies and whatever else, but if I just look up a reference like I do for my finished pieces, it'll take a little longer, sure, but it'll get done, so I don't know what I'm waiting for. So this channel will basically just be for posting my art and like yapping, and I'm an aspiring musician too. I own instruments, but I never really practice or play them. But I do have song projects and drafts on BandLab, so who knows what could come of that in the future. So I'm gonna make another video where I kind of explain my story ideas without spoilers, because another main reason I've been scared to pursue my comics and my art is because I want to start from the very beginning, because I don't want any spoilers for people that aren't my friends, like my nuclear family and friends that have already heard these ideas because I've explained it to them. I don't want my mutuals to feel the same way or to know the same things about my worlds. So I feel like I have to get the entire story drafted, like completely linearly, and like know the start, middle, and end so that I can like do it all at once. I don't know if that's how other comic artists do their stories, or if they kind of figure it out more as they go with like a basic rough draft of what they want. That's the reason I'm scared to start, is because I don't want spoilers, and I just want to release a finished product, which is not good, and I talked about in my last video, I don't want to monetize my art. I mean, I do, but if I'm looking at it in a way of like, I want to make money, I really need to not just release a finished piece, because there's gonna be no hype, no clout, no paper. Like, no one's gonna give a fuck. If you just released a fully finished show, no advertising, no hype, no nothing, nobody's gonna give a fuck. People like to grow with the creator, like I said. If you build up a small following or fandom before releasing the final product, a lot more people are going to know about it and already be a fan of what you're creating, so they'll flock to it. So all of this to say, I'm gonna start my comic. I don't care anymore. It can look like shit. The writing can be shit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to do it. Because I don't know how much longer me or anybody else has on this earth. I have a limited amount of years on this earth to make my product come to fruition, and it's not gonna be perfect ever, so I just need to do it now. And that's to say that if you at home have a project in mind that you've been ruminating on for years, waiting until the right time to do it, just fucking do it. You could die tomorrow. Like, what are you waiting for? Just put it out there. If it's not perfect, you can go back and edit and revise and do whatever you need to do. Just do it! So anyway, all of the last 10 minutes to say that, I'm probably gonna make another video where I yap about, like, my story ideas, because I haven't released anything that's actually corresponding to the final product. Like, I released, like, portrait headshots of 2 or 3 of the characters out of 10, and it's all just in my head, and I need to get it out there somehow, so I'm just gonna yap about it. Another thing about me, I love nature. I love spending time outdoors. It's my favorite thing. I feel this deep connection to the planet. I feel like we all evolved as an expression of the universe trying to observe itself. And I guess fundamentally I believe that we're all a part of a shared collective consciousness in a way. And I'm gonna make another video about collective consciousness and why it's more important than ever in history that we band together as a species and stop fighting over stupid bullshit. Because all that any of us are is just the universe attempting to experience itself. People are so caught up in their lives and the trivial matters that keep them distracted and occupied and stressed out that we fail to recognize that all of us do have a purpose and a voice and a reason to be here, that we can impact the planet and our species in a positive way. Like, why are we here? I guess that's, I just want to share my philosophy, I guess, and, like, my thoughts on existence itself. And I want to do anything that I can to contribute to the awakening of the human race, and for us to just realize that life isn't just this. I don't know how other people see the world. I see everything so deeply and so emotionally, and I don't understand how people just, like, walk through life as a human, not considering the fact that we are biological products of just nature. So that's the main thing that I think about on a daily basis. And that's why I feel like I can't really relate to anybody around me, because nobody's thinking about this shit as far as I know. I feel like if I were to bring up any of this, they'd think that I was schizophrenic, but it is what it is. That's why I'm starting this channel, in the hopes that I might find some like-minded people who understand what I'm talking about. So the main point of this channel is just to connect with others and to offer my voice to the world, and just share my artistic vision. I might do some, like, I've always wanted to do speed paint videos, but I couldn't really figure it out, and I don't have a computer that is powerful enough to handle that level of technology. So I just want to help as many people that are like me and have had experiences like mine to feel accepted and loved and wanted and seen, because I haven't had enough of that in my life. But watching these YouTube channels, I know that I'm not alone, and I know that there are other people out there that would benefit from my views and my message and my light that I've been dimming for all my life. I'm really just here to try and spread some kindness. So that's about it. I'll make another video about my story ideas, and I will see you soon. You have a wonderful night. Goodbye. I love you.